So the next question I have for you guys is more specifically going to be for Gage, but it's going to be, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be interested about this, the origin of the sealed only challenge. Obviously, this is the biggest thing in YugiTubing in 2019. Where do you want to begin with the origin of this infamous challenge?
I think a good way to put it, I normally tell a lot of people about this. I don't try to hide like where my inspiration comes from a lot, and if you're in the know with it, you can easily pick up on like where I get inspiration. But I think to like properly like kind of show you where this challenge came from, I think it's important to like break it up into two parts. And that's like when I started doing the vlogs in the first place for Yugioh, and then like I guess the challenge itself. The origin of just like the vlog template that I tried to master, or hopefully I'm getting there, but that was inspired by this guy named Andrew Nyhmnim. And Andrew Nyhmnim, what he does is he plays poker. I was obsessed with poker for a while. Like, I'm still obsessed with poker. But this guy, what he would do is he carved his own name into like the poker community. For what he would do is he was vlog. He would go to casinos, vlog, and he would like just go over hands that he played, and he would talk about like his thought process through the hand. Like, here's how I played the hand. Here's what I would have did different. Here's like all the different lines I could have taken, everything. And he would just talk about his experience at the casino. And I really liked that, you know, it was like kind of cool. Like, it was informative, and I learned a lot from him about poker and everything too. And it's just another card game. So I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I see a lot of people on like YugiTube. They talk about the game, but nobody really shows the game being played, or like how they're playing the game, you know? So I figured, well, I'm not great at the game. I was definitely not great about talking about the game. I would always mess something up. So I was like, I'm just going to show me playing it. Even though I'm not the best, I'm going to just try to make it entertaining. So I got a lot of inspiration from this guy, Andrew. And if anybody has seen any of his videos, you would easily be able to tell that like the majority of like the template for how the vlogs are structured with like the recaps with the games and everything, it's all inspired by him. I think he set a great groundwork for that, and I think it actually just translated really well to Yugioh. But the sealed only challenge itself is taken great inspiration. Me and Simo, we play RuneScape a lot, old school RuneScape, all the time. And this is where this whole huge trend started, where there's this thing called an Iron Man account. And Iron Men, they can't trade with other players. They can't interact with other players in the game. They have to be completely self-sufficient on their own. So there's this huge thing with it. Everybody can make an Iron Man account, but this one guy did it differently. This guy's name was SwampLetics. And what he did is he created an Iron Man account, an Ultimate Iron Man account, but he locked it into specifically one place of RuneScape. He locked it into this one place called Mauritania, and he can't leave it, and he set himself a goal to complete like the hardest content in the game. And that was really cool, and it blew up. Like, it's the biggest thing in old school RuneScape YouTube. So I was at Vegas with Alex at a UDS or something like that, and I was staying with him, and we were just spitballing ideas. We were like, you know, how did this succeed? How was this so successful? Is there any way we can translate that to here, like to Yugioh? And we were throwing around ideas. I think it originated with like, oh, what if we just set ourselves with a budget and try to build a deck off this budget over a week-by-week basis? Kind of like the Yu-Gi-Oh! From Scratch series, like if you were to buy singles. And then Alex was the one that came up with the idea. He said, what if we build a deck strictly from just sealed product? Like, you have to open everything. And we laughed about it. We were like, that sounds hilarious. That sounds like absolutely unreasonable. And then the more we thought about it, we were like, you know what? Yu-Gi-Oh! Is kind of like the perfect game poised for that, because everybody says, you know, like you can buy 3 structured decks and hop in and everything. And while it may be that easy, it's like, where do you go from there? And it just kind of like dawned on us like, wow, like that's a great place to jumpstart, is just the 3 structured decks, because it gives you like an inside, but also it's just like you can go on from there and see like what you can do with it. So Alex was the one that came up with the idea originally, but the more we talked about it, I kind of already had the footwork with the vlog format, and I knew instantly it was going to translate perfectly if I were to like apply to the challenge there, because it adds some structure, it adds like a story to it. And that's how we came up with it, is we took inspiration from outside of YugiTubing. We looked at RuneScape, which is one of our favorite hobbies, and we're like, you know what? I wonder how we can take things from here and apply it to YugiTubing. And it just ended up working out perfectly. I think the format just really ended up being like perfect to convey like the story and of course build the challenge on itself too. It just ended up being more than I ever could imagine. It was a blast to do as well. I can't wait to do season 2. It's going to be equally as fun.
I find that really interesting, and I'm sure many people who are watching this are going to find that interesting too. So I thank you for sharing that. I wanted to also ask Ruggles here, before I ask Ruggles this, is there anybody else on YouTube in general that inspired you, Gage, besides the 2 creators you mentioned?
I mean, but yeah, I've taken, I do a lot of watching YouTube. I think when you create videos, you look at other people's videos more critically, and you start to take, you start to notice things that make the video, unique in itself, right. And you start to, see how you can apply that to your own work if you like it. And, of course, I've taken, inspiration from people like Casey Neistat and his, vlog, kind of, the way he structures his vlog and everything. But, really the main 2 creators is just, the ones that really got me into making the videos the way I make them is Andrew Nyhmnim and then Swampaletics, the guy that does the RuneScape videos. Those are the 2 people that really, I think, got me my chops into making the sealed only challenge and making my video formats the way they are.
I see. I know for me, there's a magic YouTuber by the name of Ristic Studies who inspired my history. I know, he's so good. He inspired my history style of content. But yeah, so for you, Ruggles, is what YouTubers in general inspire your content, or if there are any?
Well, we have one of those legends in the chat right now with Gage, Nyhmnim. He's actually the reason I started my channel. I've always loved making YouTube videos. I think I started when I was 14, now 13 years ago. And I started off making skits because that's essentially what YouTube was back in the very, very early days. And then over time, I made some other channels. I made a painting channel, which is currently kind of what I do for a living. Currently on that road to 250K to make it happen. But in that community, there's essentially content with painting. You'd assume, you put a canvas up and then you just paint, and it's, a 2-hour video and it's stagnant. But eventually people evolved it to the point where they were interjecting B-roll as well. It's kind of, cleaning the brushes. It's very close-up shots. It's very cinematic. And that's something I always loved about filmmaking. I did minor in film in university. So when I see that, it's something I always really appreciate. Another creator who does that in a very different sphere is Christian Guzman. I've been watching him for years. He's a fitness YouTuber, really big fan, but it's this great balance of personal fitness information and then these great cinematic B-roll shots. And if anybody's interested in fitness and that sort of thing, I highly recommend the channel. But it was something that I always wanted to make. And I thought about making general vlog channels. I'm a big fan of guys like Peter McKinnon, Casey Neistat, obviously Nyhmnim, Revs Cards, all of it. But I wanted to interject something that was also very much me. So when I watch things like Christian's channel, where it's about fitness and it's, how much can you bench press and how do you make this better? But it's also okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch Game of Thrones with my girlfriend tonight. And that's amazing. And, we're going to order some pizza. And it's all of these different things that they just amalgamate to make such a great personal experience. So I find I generally drift to channels that don't necessarily heavily push one thing. It's a bit more wide spectrum. It's kind of being more of a polymath, good at all of these different things and amalgamating. So I personally found that Gage was definitely the biggest kind of inspiration for my channel, but there were also fitness channels and movie channels and all of these different things, art channels that really blended personality and what that specific niche was together. And that's kind of what I enjoy. And it's definitely where my content was kind of born from. But again, I think it's why, to our earlier question of, is there room in the space? I think there's always room. Because if you make something personal, you make something unique, you make it your own, and then it's something that is original in that space, which originally felt crowded. And so don't ever feel like you can't enter these spaces. You can always interject yourself, and that will always make it special.
If you want the full episode of the podcast, make sure to go to either my YouTube channel membership or my Patreon to become a $5 channel member or patron and get access to the podcast 2 days ahead of everyone else. Thank you all so much for watching, and with that, I hope to see you soon.